Hey everyone, what's up? It's your girl, the Venusian Bull, and welcome back to my channel. And if this is your first time here, welcome. Hello. Thank you for joining me. I'm so excited because in this series of videos, we are going to be discussing planets in the 11th house. Okay, it's about to get futuristic up in here. All right, we about to be in the future in this bitch. Okay. You know how it is. You know how we do. We're going to do a little introduction video, little cute intro. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm going to break down the planets in the 11th house one by one. Okay. So remember to like, comment, and subscribe, share, and tell a friend, tell many friends, tell a whole goddamn organization. Okay. Because this is the 11th house we're talking about here. All right. Just a little bit of background on the 11th house and kind of the general characteristics. You know, the 11th house is akin to Aquarius. The 11th house is it's very revolutionary. It's very innovative. It's very eclectic kind of energy. It also has to deal with hopes and wishes and dreams, as well as, you know, large groups and organizations and like being a humanitarian and things of that nature. So it's kind of like a wide array of things. And when I go through each of the planets, you'll see some distinct things that I may discuss that I may not discuss in other videos because it'll be, you know, specific to that planet.
All right, so a couple more quick hits on the 11th house. So the 11th house also represents the LGBTQIA community. I think I covered all of the letters in that alphabet. So yes, it represents the LGBTQ plus community. And whether you are a part of this community, whether you're an advocate for this community, whether you have friends that are in this community, or whether you just interact on a regular basis with people in the LGBTQ community, that can be found in the 11th house, that kind of information. And also, this is the house of friends, okay? What about your friends? Will they stand their ground? Will they let you down again? So this is all about friends. So throughout me discussing the planets in the 11th house, and I know that singing was bad, y'all. But anyway, throughout me discussing the planets in the 11th house, I'm also going to discuss what that planet means in terms of how you are as a friend as well. So this is another relationship house, like the 7th house and like the 8th house, but it kind of deals with relationships on a large scale. You know, this is about the collective. It's not about individual relationships or romantic relationships. It's about, you know, your friendships, your platonic, you know, relationships and things like that. And also, you know, any types of, you know, organizations and groups that you may be involved in with like-minded people. So, you know, I just had to get that tidbit in there. You know, I got to be thorough. Okay. Bitch, got to be thorough up in this piece. All right. So, yeah, so I just had to get that in. So stay tuned for more.
And of course, as a disclaimer, I let y'all know that I can be quite literal in these videos. Yes, I'm literal on purpose because I make my videos not only for the people who are experienced in astrology, which the 11th house also represents, but also for the newbies that are coming in. So I want to, you know, make sure that they understand. So sometimes I can be overly literal. However, if you have placements in this particular house, just know that depending on what sign is on the 11th house cusp, what aspects other planets are making to this planet and things like that, it can definitely modify this energy, okay? So take this with a grain of salt. Okay. So these are the general characteristics that I'm going to be discussing as it pertains to the 11th house. I think I covered most of the things. It's not like a whole bunch of stuff, but y'all know how it is when I get into these videos. I start yapping, and a video I thought that was going to be 5 minutes turns into 25. So I'm not even going to say necessarily that these will be shorter videos, but we may be shorter. Also, you know, the 11th house is dealing with everything in the abstract, technology, social media, you know, forward thinking, progressivism, you know, all of that is very much 11th house energy, okay? So without any further ado, we just going to get to it. We just going to get in it. You know what I'm saying? We're going to zoom to the future. Like, all right, I'll see you in 2025. Bye. Hey, what's up, y'all? I am back for another video for the planets in the 11th house. All right, and in this video, we are going to be discussing Saturn in the 11th house, okay? I'm actually really excited to talk about Saturn in the 11th house. I think this is going to be, you know, very informative and very useful. And given the fact that Saturn is currently in Aquarius, you know, we can have some, you know, cross-referencing with this. So like I just stated, having Saturn in the 11th house is similar to having Saturn in Aquarius or having Capricorn or Aquarius on the 11th house cusp, okay? So just to kind of touch base on the Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn in the 11th house thing. So Saturn is currently in Aquarius, but if you happen to have Saturn transiting your 11th house, you may be experiencing these issues too. Remember, I always tell y'all to look at the transits as well. Oh, and I forgot to tell y'all, my curls are back. My curls are back and we're gonna be trouble. Hey now, my curls are back for the summer. Curls and protective styles. We getting it in. Like, y'all know I cannot sit here and just straighten my hair all summer. It's too hot for that shit. It's too humid. Like, no, absolutely not. So it's the curls. It's your girl with the curls. Okay, so anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program. Saturn in the 11th house. Okay, so you have to remember that Saturn deals with restrictions, okay? It deals with discipline. It deals with hard work. It deals with lacking, things that are lacking. And it also, you know, it deals with taking shit away and learning lessons and karma, okay? So when you have Saturn in the 11th house, everything that has to do with the 11th house, you know, technology, activism, rebellion, friends, you know, all of these different themes, you are needing to learn lessons within these themes in this lifetime, okay? So just kind of giving like the state of the world right now. I'm going to do this really briefly because I didn't do a Saturn and Aquarius video and I won't. But let me know if y'all want me to do a Saturn and Pisces video when that happens, because I'm not ready for that. But just given everything that's going on in the world right now, as it pertains, especially as it pertains to, you know, the virus and things like that, you know, you saw things opening up, but things were restricted, you know, because Saturn is an Aquarius. Aquarius represents freedom. Freedom, I can't move. Like literally, I can't move, right? Because Saturn is there and Saturn restricts freedom. And 11th housers and Aquarius people love freedom. So what has everybody been talking about this whole pandemic time? I want to go out. I don't want to wear a mask. Fuck you. And you know, it's very, you know, extra, but people feel like their freedoms are being infringed upon. You know what I'm saying? So this is very Saturn in Aquarius, very Saturn in the 11th house. We don't like that. And also, people feel like technology is being used, you know, to control the masses and the people, you know, the government. Saturn represents the government and things like that. So people feel like, you know, if you get the vaccine and stuff like that, they're inserting a chip in you and then they're going to control you and in your every move and all this type of big brother shit. When all the while, your phone has all the technology that one needs to be able to track you. Your cell phone. Yes, what I am recording this on right now. So while y'all are worried about some chip being inserted in a vaccine, maybe all y'all should just get rid of your phone so nobody can track your asses. Go back to a burner phone. Go back to a flip phone. Get that Nokia, okay? As a matter of fact, Saturn in the 11th house, this is a little backwards technology. You know what I'm saying? It's like, they appreciate technology and they are open to it, but they're like, if they find something that works, then they just gonna stick with it. So like Saturn in the 11th house could still have their flip phone. Now, maybe they have their iPhone as well, but they like, I still got my flip phone because, you know, I don't know, what if the world ends or something like that? Or, you know, just like practical things that don't have to deal with you actually plugging things up. Like they may actually have a radio, like a portable radio, you know, like the canned goods, you know, Saturn in the 11th house in Aquarius, like y'all be planning for the end of the world, right? So, you know, you're always ready. Like there's a bunker somewhere that you know about. Like, I just feel like you're always ready because let's just face it, wherever Saturn is in your chart, that's kind of where you're a pessimist. So like you're kind of like pessimistic or looking at the glass half empty when it comes to the advancements in technology, when it comes to freedom. You feel like it's really difficult for you to be able to obtain your freedom because you feel so restricted in so many ways, you know. And just to kind of switch gears, but still talk about restriction, like even when it comes to your sexuality, because I talk about how the 11th house is the house of the LGBTQIA community and things like that. You may have a difficulty with, you know, trying to, you know, come out and be, you know, your true self. You know what I'm saying? And the 11th house in Aquarius is all about uniqueness and individuality and being different from the norm. And it's like that Saturn there is like restricting you. It's like preventing you from being your full gay self or trans self or bisexual self or lesbian self or whatever you're trying to be. Not even just on the LGBTQIA spectrum, but just in general. Saturn can restrict you from individuality. You know what I'm saying? And it's, you know, it's ironic because the 11th house is the house of groups and organizations and things of that nature, but there's still something individualistic about you and about the groups that you are participating in and the organizations that you're participating in. It's still different. It's still eccentric. It's still off the beating path. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to talk about friends. My friends, real friends, better than your friends. Singing that, I just had to say, Saturn in the 11th house, y'all looking for real friends. No fake friends, no friends just here for the minute and gone the next. Like, y'all scope out people and, like, I don't know, low-key, like, unconsciously maybe taking resumes for people to be your friend. Like, it's like a job interview. Like, what kind of value can you add for me? Like, how can you be useful to me as a friend? You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, the 11th house, Aquarius, it's a sign in a house of convenience. So Saturn in the 11th house is really like going to amp that convenience shit up, like to the max. Like, you may think that you're their friend, but they like really just need you when they're doing activist work. Or they like really just need you to drive them somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Or they really just need you when they need help editing a video. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll come to realize this. It's not to say that somebody with Saturn in the 11th house is a shitty friend. That's not true. They could be some of the most loyal because they're so particular about who they make their friends. This is the type of placement that's not going to have a lot of friends. This is like the one placement in the 11th house, maybe two, that's not really going to have a lot of friends because it's all about the quality and not the quantity. They don't care if they only have one friend. They don't care about that. What can you do for me? What have you done for me lately? Ooh, yeah. So that is Saturn in the 11th house. What can you do for me? How can you help me? How can you be useful to me? And it can be seen as someone being a user. And on the negative manifestation, it kind of is somebody being a user. But on the positive manifestation, this is like great energy for finding people to work with you, like business partnerships and creating that into like a broad scale, and things like that. So business relationships, like business friendships when it pertains to working with, you know, technology and activism and anything that has to deal with, you know, social media and the internet and things of that nature. So you can really find camaraderie and friendship amongst the people that you work with, because while seeing that they're useful in this way, then you also realize, oh, you have things in common. Oh, you're weird like me. Oh, you're eccentric like me. Oh, you don't like people like me, but I do like people. Like, you get me because you get that I like people, but I don't. Saturn in the 11th. That's it. You like people, but you don't. It's so confusing, but anybody with this placement is probably going to, understand that. And I wanted to just also touch base on the technology aspect. This is a great placement for doing any type of business as it pertains to technology, so working in the tech field, Simi Valley, like working for the Googles, the Facebooks, Facebook owns Instagram. So, all of that, working, for these, tech companies and, establishing new and innovative and interesting ideas. You can really utilize that Saturn practicality as it pertains to technology. Like, what is going to be a practical app? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, for instance, Google Maps, a very practical, useful app that everybody uses. Someone who has Saturn in the 11th house, or like Saturn dominant type of person, but also like a little bit of technology, like a little Uranus sprinkled in there, was like, we're going to come up with Google Maps because people need an app to tell them where they're going, because everybody has a bad sense of direction and everybody gets lost and nobody knows where the fuck they're going. Like, like, I'm direction challenged. So whoever invented Google Maps, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. And that was somebody with some sense. That was some Saturn, Saturnist-ness. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people who develop the apps that don't have that practicality, or it's just like, why are there like multiple things of the same thing? Like, I feel like low-key, that's kind of why Snapchat died a little bit, or in Vine. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I know TikTok is booming now, but I predict that TikTok may also die out, only because Instagram kind of does it all and it's been around longer. And I understand that Instagram is kind of stealing ideas, so now they have TikTok-ish type of things, but like, Instagram has been around for longer than TikTok. So I just feel like the one that's been around longer is the one that's able to stay longer. Obviously, Facebook has been around longer than all of them. And people with Saturn in the 11th house, they might be like, I just got Facebook and that's it. Like, I'm old school. I done had the same Facebook since 2006, okay? And I'm going to stick with Facebook. I don't fuck with all of those other social media platforms, the Twitters and the Instagrams and the TikToks and the Vines and the Snaps and the, oh my, like, we don't, like Saturn in the 11th is going to kind of keep it simple when it comes to the technology and things like that. But at the same time, they're still very enamored and still very interested in the technological aspects of how we can make things run more smoothly, how we can make things more practical, and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? And to, add value. Some things you got to take away. You know what I'm saying? Some things aren't necessary. Saturn has to deal with what you don't need. So some stuff you just don't need. Like, you really don't need all those apps on your phone. Like, you don't need them all. Like, we need to have one condensed app that kind of handles everything. Somebody's probably going to come up with this. But yeah, I think that's probably the idea of the phone. That's why we use like our phone for literally everything, because, for wallets, IDs, like insurance cards, and you got your mobile banking, and you have, all of your apps for social media and stuff like that. And like your contacts, and everything is on your phone. Like, literally everything. And that's kind of the practicality of Saturn in the 11th house as well. Like, you don't need anything else. So get rid of those things. Get rid of the trash. Get rid of the garbage. Get rid of what is unnecessary. That's kind of the idea. And while you're at it, you can delete like 1,000 pictures out of your phone. You know, you don't need those. It's not necessary. I'm speaking to myself. But I like to keep the pictures. Anyway, I'm a hoarder. I'm a Taurus. So this, I can't even, I'm so far away from a Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn in 11th house person. It's not even funny. Not completely though, but anyway. Oh, this is also someone who's a very like, this is the friend that's going to tell it to you like it is. And I know everybody in the 11th house, if you have 11th house patience, is going to be like that. But this is the friend that's going to kind of be like a parent. Not like a moon in the 11th house where they're kind of like nurturing and nice and kind and generous, but more like stern. Like, you really gonna wear that dress to the club? I wouldn't wear that dress to the club. You look like a hoe. They're just gonna tell it to you. Like, the 11th house is already hella blunt. So like Saturn in the 11th is really just like, oh girl, you don't need all that makeup. Oh no, you look like a clown. Oh no, why did you get all of those butt injections? That shit looks horrible. Like, your ass looks like a parachute. Like, what is this? Like, Saturn in the 11th house, no filter. No filter. No filter. They're just going to tell it to you like it is. And they feel like they're being a good friend. Like, they'll probably tell this to strangers too. Because, you know, people with 11th house energy, you know, they can really kind of like talk to anybody. So I would say if you have this placement, it's good to be blunt. But I think just know the kind of relationship that you have with that person because, you know, and the type of person that they are, if they're really sensitive. But also that person should know they're dealing with someone that kind of has a heart of coal. And I did not say a heart of gold. I said a heart of coal. That doesn't mean that you can't be, you know, nice and, you know, empathetic and things like that. But, you know, the 11th house, Aquarius, it represents coldness. It represents being frigid. It represents, you know, thinking with the head and not the heart and not being so emotional. And when you have Saturn there, and Saturn is all about the business, getting shit done. We don't need none of that shit. Like, keep all of that shit over there. Like, you're going to encounter people who don't understand that aspect of you. Like, you are about business. You're about getting shit done. You're about getting those petitions signed. You are about getting, you know, your videos out there and edited, creating the newest, practical, most innovative apps, like, you know, finishing school for engineering, going to MIT. Like, you are about that life. And even more so than other placements in the 11th house, you're so like disconnected from the interpersonal relationships that a lot of people like to have, you know, and that's why it's difficult to be a Saturn in the 11th house's friend. But I will say this. If you happen to be friends with someone with Saturn in the 11th house, the one thing that you will get all the time is honesty, and you'll get somebody that is a rock for you. Like, they're going to, they have a sense of loyalty, you know, to people that, you know, they really care about and they really trust, but they have to really trust you. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like Pluto energy. You know what I'm saying? They have to really trust you and they have to really believe that you're on their side. And most importantly, you need to be useful to them. So that's why I said business partnership is probably better than just like a regular friendship where you're going out and hanging out like, hey, or just like be their acquaintance. Saturn in the 11th house, get with that acquaintance shit. That's where it's at. Acquaintances. That's where it's at. So yeah, I have been rambling on for almost 20 minutes. I knew this video was going to be long because talking about Saturn is just always so much information, and it's so, you know, it's so difficult to just kind of have these videos be short, but just keep that in mind and also know that there's lessons to be learned with friends. It's like maybe you're not supposed to have a lot of friends in this lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're just not, you know, supposed to be this, you know, crazy innovative person. I know that sounds like a contradiction based off of what I just said, but you have to learn how to work with the things that you are lacking. you know what I'm saying? You feel restricted because you can't come out, or you can't be your true self. You can't be your individual self. So you have to figure out ways to get around that. And you have to work a little bit harder than other people to be able to get that. But the big thing with friends, it's like, in this lifetime, in your previous life, you may have been really screwed over by friends, been very taken advantage of, taken for granted. And Saturn energy does not like to be taken for granted. They like to feel useful. They like to feel like people need them. And if they don't feel like people need them, they kind of feel like worthless. You know what I'm saying? So Saturn energy, wherever, they need to feel like they're needed, but Saturn in the 11th house needs to feel like they're needed in encompassing like any type of, you know, activism work, or, you know, just dealing with, you know, technology and jobs that are, you know, surrounding that, careers that are surrounding those types of things. They need to feel like their voice is heard, and they need to feel like they're valued, you know, that they're useful, you know. So not only do they want people around them to be useful to them, but they want to be useful to other people. So that's the big thing with Saturn in the 11th, / Saturn in Aquarius. So I hope you enjoyed this long ass video that I just did for Saturn in the 11th house. And if you happen to have this placement, please sound off in the comments. Let me know if this information resonated with you. Let me know if you know anybody with this placement, and, let me know what you think. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell all of your friends, share, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.